Hey, my name is Barry J. Neely, and I wanted to talk to you about a cue I did for the movie Slapface. I took the most complicated scene from the movie and I scored that first. I'll play for you the full cue afterward, but I wanted to go through it a little step by step. So the movie is about this boy. He ultimately befriends this witch. Now, this is the scene where he meets the witch for the second time. Let's start from the beginning of the scene where Lucas is going to this abandoned hospital. What I kind of established right away was this dulcimer. It's a 4-string Appalachian dulcimer, and I bowed it with a cello bow because I needed long, sustaining instrumentation. That was the key for this whole film, and I tuned it really low. Even though I use the dulcimer throughout the film, there are these blue flowers that he kind of sees when the witch has been around. And I used the scratchiness of the dulcimer to always indicate that those blue flowers were there. I also used this blue Tibetan singing bowl. And I used that to create another tone. It was almost like the scenes where a lot of instrumentation wasn't called for, but we needed an eerie, kind of creepy layer. Kind of adds to the dulcimer. I also had this. You kind of need a low tone throughout a horror movie too, so I have this one. But also, this kind of sound here. It's called Bees Synth out of MOTU's Mach 5, and I loved it, and I'm pretty sure I hammered it with a lot of reverb. So we'll continue on with the scene. We also have some beats in here that are made by a low hiradaiko, this rumble from the hiradaiko that I liked a lot. And here it's just kind of hitting it almost like a bass drum. I'll just briefly play that for you. It's not adding a lot, but also kind of breaking up the long sustained tones just to give us a few hits. But you notice not much has changed. Lucas saw the blue flowers, but now he's going to enter the facility. And, well, let's just see what happens. I created this film at the beginning of the pandemic, so I knew I would be taking care of a lot of the instrumentation myself. So that's why I got the dulcimer. That's why I got the Santur, the hammered dulcimer that you'll see later. But I wanted to learn, and I always want to learn, about the instruments that I do choose and why the sounds are made. So this harp sound, harp has strings, of course, but the tunings are dependent on the pedals that you hit. This sound is created by having your pedal in between switching to another key or another set of tones. And so it creates this kind of buzz, rattling. And I added distortion to that too, just to give it an extra element of edginess. So let's hear it as a whole. Now, I actually have 2 Tibetan bowls going on here. I had started writing this cue before I bought the real Tibetan singing bowl. So I have a fake one in there and I have the real one in there. Now, he's about to see the witch. What we have here is a chase scene. So we have contrabass slaps. B-synth is going in swells, especially when we first see the witch. Kind of starts off the chase. And we have the other big drums. So you've got like a rolling thunder drum, taiko drum, which is just the hits. A lot of it is in the mid-range and the lower mid-range and the lows. I also have 2 bass drums going. A drum set kick drum, where I actually hit it with mallets, while the other bass drum is going. So you've got those low drums working with the upright bass, pizzicato, and effects. The reason for a lot of these tones, the lower tones, is you're going to have the kid screaming, you're going to have the crunch of his footsteps in the leaves, and I don't always want to fight with the frequencies that are going to be put in by the sound editing and the sound design. That's why it's all based upon like low drums. Now let's talk about tones, because I have some tones in there. It is only the violins by Spitfire, and they're called frozen strings. So the frozen strings in this go in this ascending line. The contrabass is kind of doing an ascending line as well. The ascending line is kind of the witch theme, but it does have this ascending line that I always use when we're focused on the witch. So here's the whole thing together. Now the next part is where we have the live violin of Crissy J doing the sustained note that I use often throughout the film, and it is a waiting for the witch to attack, not knowing where the witch is. It's just a dizzying, suspenseful cue. There's the violin. The rumbles, of course. That bees synth that I love so much. That kind of build up to when the witch grabs him. I knew the kid was going to scream, so I wanted to make room for that scream. Again, it's that bee synth. Now, the important shift here, because we have him going into the building, then he sees the witch, he gets scared, he gets a jump scare, then it's a chase scene, then it's a dizzying what's happening next scene, and now it's gonna go into this, the witch isn't bad, I don't know, but I'm not gonna run away anymore. And I have these lower tones coming in. I chose very warm layers, and I'm gonna play you this cue. So the layer I'm very proud of, but that I kept on pushing towards the bottom, is this guzheng, which is a Chinese stringed instrument. I love the feeling of peace it brought throughout this part of the cue, but I didn't want it to be he's just accepting of this witch immediately, but he clearly, in his eyes right here, is kind of coming around to this witch might be a friend. So the 4-string dulcimer I used at the beginning, I bowed with the cello. This one I hit with the hammers because it's called a hammered dulcimer. It's an Iranian version of it, and it's providing the apprehending melody to it all. I have this kind of dance where I add a lot in, take some out, record it, take some out, record it again, and then at the end of the cue, I'm like, it still needs to be pared down, but I've put all my recording stuff away, so I just try to edit the sound bites instead. So I'll show you the hidden notes of Slapface. It was just a repetition of the previous note, but I didn't want it. Now the Tibetan singing bowl is growing too, and then you're gonna have this moment of peace with the scratchiness of the dulcimer that's gonna take us out. So So there it is. There is the cue to a very involved scene. I would count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish, 8 sections within one cue within 5 minutes. It was because I wrote this first that I was able to keep the ideas consistent throughout the whole movie. All right, I'm going to play you the whole thing. As usual, I am on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at Barry J. Neal. You might resurrect my TikTok account one of these days too. Find me there, say hello, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Take care.